Hi, it's Angus here with Harry from St Paul's Lifestyle, obviously. We're just going to talk a little bit about the Roskilde lineup because it's pretty amazing this year. So, Harry, do you want to just read out the headliners?
Yeah, well, we've got
for starting.
the Rolling Stones, which is pretty massive. Arctic Monkeys, Damon Albarn, Drake, Major Lazer, Outkast, Stevie Wonder, and Trent Moller.
Hopefully you pronounced that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the lineup for the past few years that we've actually been has also been fantastic, and I don't think any of the acts we've seen on the main stage have disappointed at all. So this year it looks like, at least from the main stage point of view, it's going to be a fantastic festival. Now, obviously being in Denmark, they get a lot of Danish and Swedish and Norwegian acts coming in, and a lot of the smaller stages, they do have a good portion of these smaller Danish acts, as well as obviously UK, US, a few New Zealand acts, all over the world. They get acts from all over the world. Of the smaller, well, I say smaller, they're still obviously huge bands, but of the smaller bands, are there any bands that you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, Bastille are there, which is a good band. I've seen them before a few times. They're pretty awesome live.
Where's been the best place you've seen them?
Well, I've seen them twice. I've seen them supporting Muse at the Emirates Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Which was a pretty big deal for them. It was quite
Yeah.
quite a while ago. And I saw them last year at Reading, and they were really amazing then again. Just, could barely hear them though because everyone was singing along. So.
Oh no, it was the Vaccines. I saw the Vaccines because they played last year at Roskilde.
Yeah.
And I saw them at Reading as well a year or two before that.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were a little better in Reading than they were at Roskilde, but also they did still put on a really good show.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been the fact that they had been on a long tour, I believe, beforehand.
Yeah. I guess they may be better well known in
the UK as well. Yeah, as well, because this is, I think that it must have been the year after they like exploded in the. Actually, I know why. Their new album had just come out, and I don't think a whole lot of people had because for the Vaccines, I think it was their first album got huge,
yeah.
And their newer album, it hadn't been out very long, and not that many people had listened to it. I don't think.
No.
But they still put on a fantastic show.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think Bastille, it's gonna be a huge crowd for them because they're so stadium-y.
They're massive everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah.
They just blew up with their first album.
Yeah. Actually, last year, I think one of my highlights was Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
And I think it had the same sort of effect because he was huge last year as well, obviously. But there was just so many die-hard fans because I don't think a whole lot of American rappers get out a lot into Europe because obviously the scene is so strong over in America that Europe, they tend to come for bigger tours and a support, but they don't do it often, and I think it really makes a big difference to how the crowd responds.
Yeah.
And I suspect Bastille will have a huge reception now.
So, yeah.
As well, Haim, I'm excited to see them.
Yeah.
I've been a fan for a while.
Yeah.
I think they've got quite a nice, unique sound, which is going to come across well.
Yeah,
especially in Roskilde.
Quite suited to the Roskilde, I would say, the environment, Because the thing about it, they've got such diversity, haven't they, in their music? Last year they had Rihanna and Metallica.
Yeah.
I mean, what other festival are you going to find those two?
Yeah,
the same one.
That was crazy last year. I mean, I'm so excited to see Damon Albarn, just because I've been Blur. But I absolutely love the Gorillaz.
Yeah.
And obviously, being the power behind that, then he should be amazing.
Yeah, that would be quite some show.
Plus, he has a new album out.
Does he?
Yes,
oh.
And it's good. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Who else is playing?
There's Kasabian.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't long ago, and they were headlining Reading Leeds again.
Yeah, it's funny. You see these. You look down here, and we were just looking through some of the lower, the sort of the lower down on the lineup, and it's just we're just reading it. It's just like the Horrors, just down there in the middle. Like obviously a huge band, and again fantastic live. I saw them at Reading a few years ago, which I'm really excited to see again, because they Crystal Castles were one of my highlights of last year.
Yeah.
And for sure, I still think about their gig they did, and the Horrors have that same sort of huge boomy feel, like with all this sort of ambient and
just get the crowd into
melodic rock, and I think that will be awesome, because also, I like last time I saw them at Reading, they were really hyped, and the crowd was huge for it. You couldn't even get into the tent.
Yeah,
they were playing.
It's good in some ways, isn't it? When you got the whole tent like stuff. Obviously, it's difficult to get a place, but it's good atmosphere.
Yeah, for sure.
Almost better than the main stage in some ways when you've got a crowded tent.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite nice, because Roskilde isn't limited to one of these genres of music. Like Reading is typically rock.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, you have obviously
each
the more
festival
metal
normally
festivals.
has their own, don't they?
Yeah.
Whereas,
in the UK at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glastonbury tends to be a bit poppy, and they sometimes get older influences.
They have so many stages though. They have like everything.
Yeah, that's true. Outkast as well. I heard they were getting back for a tour, and I was just hoping against hope that they were going to come to Roskilde, and I felt like they were, and as soon as they were announced,
they seemed like the right sort of band too.
Yeah, I was so happy. I can't wait to see them.
No, they'll be. Well, I just remember, it's years ago now, with Hey Ya, that song, and Roses.
Yeah, it's been so long.
A lot more.
It was the Love Box / something else.
Yeah.
It's one of their albums.
Yeah, that album.
And I think they don't really get enough credit for, because they have a few songs like Hey Ya, Roses, all of that, that have got really famous. Yeah. But their core is a lot more edgy, I feel like. Yeah. The core of their music.
Yeah, they're more sort of mainstream songs, aren't they?
Yeah.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Which I think is going to make a fantastic set.
Yeah.
Because there's bound to be a lot of die-hard fans there, because they're not going to get another opportunity, probably.
No, exactly.
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a bit of a reputation for being fantastic.
Yeah.
Being fantastic.
Yeah, he's someone I'd like to see live, actually. I've heard a lot of good things about him.
Yeah. Have huge sets. His music is obviously timeless as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's never just gets old, does it?
No. The Deftones, one of my favourite bands. Yeah. They've been on my the list I do. The playlist I do every month, and there's a reason. I mean, the Chino, I can't remember his second name off the top of my head, but last time I saw them, you just had the whole crowd chanting Chino at him in between sets. It's just crazy. But they've had some fantastic albums as well. Do you listen to Deftones a lot? No,
I don't actually. I did briefly see them at Reading 1 year. It was a while ago, so I can't really remember them that well. I didn't really know their music, but from what I heard, I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments where I didn't know the band.
I saw it. Deftones aren't that accessible.
Yeah.
I feel like their music is very. It's got such a strong vibe to it that, and they don't really give a fuck about about what's going on in pop music or anything like that, or any of the popular influences. Yeah, for sure. Just like staring at the playlist, looking for some of our top picks. Rob Zombie.
Yeah,
he's gonna be great.
Yeah,
he was. I think Sam has seen him actually.
Has he?
Yeah. And he said he was really good. So. Good. I can't think of many acts that over the past few years that I've been at Roskilde that have disappointed me. That's a big part of it. Mogwai as well. Do you know them?
I've not heard of them.
Oh, well, they do a lot of this sort of electronic sort of flowy music, like a bit like what I played earlier. But they have a very famous movie song, which again, off the top of my head, I can't remember because memory's
Yeah.
like a sieve. But I think that they're another band who has a lot of diehard fans. Luke, actually, he was the one that got me into them.
Really?
Yeah, years ago.
All right. Well, I'll have to have a listen then.
Yeah, I would. And they have a huge backlog of music. But they're again another band who, in an open field, it suits them much more than being inside.
Yeah.
I feel like, because of their music has such sort of like dynamic reach.
Yeah, some bands just have that vibe, don't they? Where being outside is just the right place for them.
Yeah, for sure. Interpol as well. They'll be good.
Yeah.
I've seen them before, and they were good then. And their music is quite, I don't really know how to describe it. Sort of mellow indie rock, would it be?
Yeah, progressive rock.
Progressive, maybe? I don't know.
I'm not too sure.
Anyway, very unique sound.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the things that has sort of stuck with me is they kind of like over in sort of Denmark area. They all sort of like the sort of a bit quirky music.
Yeah,
and a little bit
different to normal.
A little bit edgy, if you see what I mean. And Interpol have that in spades, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, wherever you go, whatever you watch, you're bound to find someone that you don't know that you're going to like as well, aren't you? That's one of the great things about festivals. If there's something you don't know that's on, you just have a look round.
Yeah.
You can always find something.
Licky Lee as well. I think she's a steadfast of the festival at this point.
Really?
Yeah, I believe she played in they do a sort of super group thing, or did a year or two ago. I should have looked this stuff up before.
Yeah.
But she played on that, and she was fantastic. And all of her new stuff as of last year is also really good. Yeah. And she was playing some of that last year, and I was like blown away by it. Right. So hopefully she's going to crack out even more of that this year.
New tracks.
New tracks and stuff. And I at the moment she's just going from strength to strength. Yeah. And especially obviously because she's Scandinavian, or is that Swedish?
Yeah.
That's going to be bad if I get that wrong. Never mind. Anyway, she's Scandinavian, and they love her out there, and she's got a strong following. Yeah. So I think off the top of my head, that would be one which I'd be like, I'm for sure going to make sure I get to see that over almost anything else. Diplo as well.
Yeah.
Strong electronic artist.
Arctic Monkeys as well.
They're
they suddenly, with their newest album, haven't they?
They've created a ton of buzz in the UK recently, haven't they?
Yeah.
AM as well as their new album.
Yeah, that's it won quite a lot of awards as well, isn't it?
It's they're another band who I've put on my playlist actually last month.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've just been, because me and you sort of grew up listening to them when they first came out.
Yeah, when you got.
I bet that you look good. Good on the dance floor and stuff like that. And their sound has changed so much, but they've always managed to stay at this sort of front edge of music. Yeah. And this summer they're on a massive tour or festival hype train thing.
They're headlining quite a few festivals.
Yeah,
they're headlining
Reading.
They're headlining something else as well, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But I mean, they're definitely having a good summer.
Yeah. Drake, actually, he's an interesting one.
Drake, yeah.
Because I've been in and out of his music a little since he sort of popped up. At least on my scene, I'm not really up with all the R&B and rap.
No, it's not my thing.
Like, it's not really current for me. But
when I saw he was announced, I did search some of his songs. I actually knew a lot more than I expected to. It's just one of those people who you sort of hear in the background and you think, oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then
I remember the first song I heard of him, I think it was an Eminem. Well, it was the same song as the Eminem remix, but I was listening to the original Drake song, which which Eminem then uses backing for, I think, a song off Recovery. I don't know. I'm not that quick with Eminem's albums and stuff like that. No. But I'm sure it's going to be good. I mean, Rihanna last year I really enjoyed. I thought she was great.
Yeah.
And
even if these things aren't quite your taste of music, you know, you can go see them live and they're still amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, I remember actually I was watching a video with Drake in it of, it was like the Conan O'Brien show or something like that.
Yeah.
He was pretending to be a reporter after a Drake, I think it was after a Drake gig, going out and talking to people about Drake, and he had like disguised himself with like wigs and moustache and glasses, and then so he was just walking around talking to these people, slagging himself off, being like, "Oh, that Drake guy, he's
actually,
so crap."
Now you say that, I think I've heard of that.
Maybe it's got.
I saw something like that.
Yeah, it was a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And and eventually he finds one of his fans, and he just obviously he like gets the fan sticks up for Drake. He's like, "No, I like his music," or whatever, and then he like takes all of his costume off, and the fan's just like blown away. And I think doing that sort of thing is really cool.
Yeah,
because
interacting with your fans. As well,
there's not a lot of like, look, Justin Bieber is a prime example for this.
Yeah,
the actual seeing him interact on a personal level with fans doesn't really happen because they've got all of this red tape around him, security guards everywhere,
protected.
Yeah, all he gets is like signing autographs and fans screaming at him. But I think doing that sort of thing, because Drake is obviously he's huge. So
he's massive.
So being able to do something like that, I think is really cool.
Yeah, and it would attract. Obviously he's Canadian, isn't he?
Mm.
And you know, it would attract people from over there as well to Roskilde. It will make the festival more well known in different parts of the world.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who was the year before? Rihanna was last year. I think the year before they had another act like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Again, memory. It's not really up to scratch anymore. Yeah, lineup's amazing. Yeah. I'm quite excited to see the graffiti as well this year, because each year we've done a little feature on it, and it's quite a big part of the camp. All of the walls around the camp, or in the main stadium area, they'll spray paint beforehand. I assume during Roskilde Rising, but I don't know because we've never been during that period. We have talked to some of the acts, but never been actually at the camp when everybody's getting there, because most of the time people come for the week, not just the last few days when all the big acts are on. So it's mostly just I think drinking then, and there is obviously a lot of it's a big part of actually Roskilde Rising is they almost build half of the things themselves. The people that they always have construction sites and all sorts of things to do in the daytime, and it's it's much more than just a festival, because over here in the UK we're so used to
we have our set
sprawling areas of tents, which still happens obviously, but in the main area it's not just tent with various different acts in them. They have.
I've heard the food is like
I mean
everything about like the festival, like the hygiene, I think has probably got a lot better.
For sure.
You know, you got there's like restaurants inside there as well. You know, you don't find that over here. I mean, as much as I love an English festival, you don't quite get that luxury, do you?
You're queuing up for 25 minutes to get a £4.50 like bag of chips.
Yeah.
Instead, over there the food's even quite good value for festival food.
Yeah.
It's not
there's
particularly
Danish
cheap.
pastries and stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much more well-rounded. It's not quite like Glastonbury level of just a whole new town.
Yeah.
Pretty much set up, but
built up over there.
it's pretty close to that. And a lot of they do little exhibitions as well. Like if we went, they had all these old photos from various years, showing how the festival has grown and changed. Like in a room where all these nice seats and stuff like that. Sort of a little arty room with all these things in. And it was just quite a nice place to go and chill out. And they have a lot of places like that around the festival.
Yeah, that's nice, because you're not always wanting to watch music. Like, I know it's a music festival and everything, but there's time when you've got without music, isn't there? It's nice to have stuff to do. I always find that sometimes, you know, if there's not doing anything, you're a bit stuck for what else to do. Yeah, for sure. And Roskilde gives you that.
Yeah, lineup's great.
Yeah.
You got any final words?
No, just if you don't know about it, check it out.
And go see Licky Lee.
Yeah.